In order to draw circuit diagrams, we have to make sure that we're utilizing the standard symbols. So I'm going to show you a few of them, show you how we draw these properly, and then give you guys a chance to try and figure out how to draw these based on certain required conditions. So the first thing we'll start is the simplest, that's the wire. If you want to draw a wire, you simply just draw a line. So anytime you see a line, it just simply means a wire. The voltage source, the battery, the wall outlet, the generator, something like that, use the following symbol with one small line running parallel to a larger line, the smaller line denoting the negative terminal, and the positive section denoting the being denoted by the longer line. You might see this sometimes. That is still a voltage source. That usually just means multiple batteries or something like that. So either one of those is fine, but if you see either one of them, you're basically being told this is the voltage source. This is what's providing the difference that's driving these electrons through the circuit. We also have resistors. That's like anything you plug in. Refrigerators, laptops, cell phones, stereos, anything that you're plugging in that you're going to utilize that current for some reason, that is a resistor, and we simply kind of draw the squiggly line to represent a resistor. A light bulb is basically the same thing as a resistor. A lot of times you'll see a circle around it, so it looks like a bulb. Essentially the same thing. You could also just draw a light bulb with the regular resistor symbol. But just realize that if you see that circle, as you will probably see fairly frequently, that just denotes specifically it is a light bulb. And the last thing we want to take a look at would be a switch that controls whether this is an open or closed circuit. So in this case, a closed circuit, you just see like kind of the hinges of that switch, but it's a connected circuit. Current will flow. If it's open, much like a drawbridge, there is no current. So that just kind of shows you, how the circuit can be activated and deactivated. All right, so the general rules that we kind of want to get in the habit of following when we draw these circuit diagrams is the diagrams themselves should be angular or box-like. So if you take a look on the left, you notice it's kind of angular. It's basically a rectangle with these elements added. Whereas on the right, you get the idea, but that's kind of just drawn by freehand. And despite the fact that both of these are pretty easy to follow, as you get to more complex circuit arrangements, without being very detailed and being careful and being angular, it's very easy to quickly generate a diagram that's way too confusing to interpret. So make sure that your diagrams are rather boxy and angular and very neat and organized. It'll be much easier to follow for anyone who's trying to analyze what the circuit is doing. The other thing comes to anytime you have specific requirements for switches. So we always want to ensure that we've placed the switch in a location that meets our requirements. And here's what I mean by this. So based on where that switch is right now in that diagram, if I open that switch, based on its location, no current can get through that gap. So all three light bulbs will not work. If that's what we want, by all means, excellent. We can place the switch there. However, if we want a specific situation where only, let's say, 2 of the bulbs are controlled, we have to make sure we place the switch at that location. By placing it there, it ensures that current can still flow through that first closed loop and that first bulb will light up, but those other 2 bulbs will in no way, shape, or form be lit. Similarly, if we place the switch in that location, we realize that 2 of the bulbs will still work, 1 of them won't. So we have to be very, very careful with these switches. As we move into more complicated diagrams, you will have specific requirements, such as 1 switch that controls 2 light bulbs, or 1 switch that controls only 1 light bulb. And you always need to be very careful, because if you place the switch in the wrong spot, you might shut down the entire circuit or portions of the circuit that you did not intend to shut down.